This is Digital Marketing Fastlane. This podcast will show you how to build, launch, grow, and scale a widely successful online business. Listen to real conversations with proven practical strategies and success stories. You're going to learn how to generate more traffic, more sales, more profit, and customer lifetime value for your online store. Coming to you from the online marketing experts at Voy Media, here's your host, Kevin Urrutia.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today we have Michael Hodgen, the co-founder of Freedom Rave Wear. Hey Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good, I'm doing great. I'm excited to have you here today. So Michael, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah. So basically I am a entrepreneur. I like to think of myself as like a serial entrepreneur in training. Learning how to run a business from the ground up is giving me an opportunity to hopefully get closer to those more ambitious goals. I went to school in New York City and I studied biochem and international studies. I'm now e-commerce rave apparel, so entire 180. It's far away from organic chem as you can get, but this process has really just helped my personality and character a lot because I'm not meant for one specific repeatable task or a few repeatable tasks. I need to have a ton of stimulation, and entrepreneurship is right where I feel at home.
Great. And then did you do any sort of entrepreneurial endeavors while in college? Or was Freedom Rave Wear your first sort of interest into entrepreneurship? My
first gig as a paper boy was back in second grade, hustling up and down the streets, flipping newspapers to people and just trying to get good tips. So, I saved up money then to buy a moped so that then I could go up and down the hills. I grew up in Salt Lake City, so go up and down the hills of the Wasatch Front at greater speed, thereby getting more deliveries out before I had to go to class at 7:30 in the morning. It's always been something I've done on the side. In college, I did a ton of tutoring. I mean, tutoring was my main gig. If someone needed help in biology, cool. If they needed it in chem, cool. If they needed it in physics, great. Math, whatever, I would just take it. So I would send them kind of a heads up, just, hey, send me your current chapter so that I know that I'm good on it. And they'd send it to me, and then I'd just go online, read about it, study as much as I could, make sure I understood, well enough to teach it. And, and then we'll go from there. So it's something I've always done, just learning and helping others learn. It's kind of my thing.
Okay, perfect. And then sort of, how did you get in college? How did you get to New York? So you grew up in
Salt Lake. Yeah.
Salt Lake City. Yeah. So how did that sort of move to New York happen?
Well, I played soccer. So I had a scholarship and, went and played school there. So for me, college was more of a find the best fit for soccer and have a good time. It wasn't an academic pursuit. It was entirely me trying to satisfy my passion, which was soccer, and my parents' passion, which was education. So, college education. Don't get me wrong. I love the education aspect of it, but paying, a good amount of money to live in New York when I had no real income aside from tutoring, that put me in the hole. So the other reason I think why we've been so successful in the entrepreneurship game is we've got, there's student loans to pay back.
Yeah. And then sort of, since obviously clearly it looks like your first passion is probably something like soccer. I'm assuming you probably wanted to go to the MLS or something like that.
I played at a pretty high level for a long time, right? And going from the track of, okay, let's go and be a professional soccer player, which was an option for me at the end of my senior year. I went to Guatemala and trialed with a pro team down there and had a great time and got an offer that was, what would maybe be the equivalent of $15,000 right, to be down there. And it was at that point where I was I love soccer and this is great. I'm not the next Cristiano. I know my place. And I could do this and have some fun for a while, but I need to go and find what my career is going to be. So I ended up at that point moving to San Diego with really chasing who's my co-founder now, but my girlfriend at the time, just trying to make things work instead of being so far away. So yeah.
What did that feel like when you, I guess, came to the realization that, hey, like, I'm not going to be like, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest soccer players, or like Messi? What was that realization like? Because I would say, like, you've been doing this for what, maybe 10 plus years, right? And then all of a sudden you give that up. How did that feel?
I did not dwell on it for a
Yeah.
second. I made the decision and moved. I rarely play soccer now, something that I did every day for, like you said, over 10 years, to just diving right into something else, like, building a company. I don't look in the rearview mirror that much. I look back and maybe get like nostalgic every now and then, but it's not been something that has caused me any sort of emotional pain. It didn't feel like anything. It felt like it was the right thing to do. And it was just like a choice in a series of choices to try and get where we are today.
Okay, perfect. And then sort of, can you talk to us a little bit about, when did you guys start Freedom Rave Wear? Was that before you moved to San Diego or after you and Alyssa moved to San Diego?
It was after. So I moved, she's from San Diego originally. And I moved out here, we were dating, and I thought to myself, hey, like, I need to take her on a cool date, So we ended up going to Hard Summer, which is a music festival in the LA area. Had a great time. Had no idea what to expect. Decided to go to a second festival, which was about a month later. And at that festival, Alyssa had made us some outfits, like a little couples matching outfit. And people loved it. They absolutely loved the look. And, a bunch of people came up asking where did we get the outfits? And after the 10th person asked that day, I looked at her. I was like, could you do this? Could you make outfit? I don't know why I even asked that, but I just felt like there was such a big opportunity when you got 40,000 people cruising around. It was 40,000 people at this event. It was this is huge. And, if she has a talent at being able to make things that people clearly like, then how can I support that? And that night we decided, while we were at the festival, decided to start the company. 7 days later, we had filed, got our filed on LegalZoom, had our papers back. Every festival and show we could go to, we were handing out cards and just talking to people and getting to know as many people as we could. So we dove in. I kind of see a theme here. Once the decision's made, it's you just go for it. And that's how we started. It was entirely from just, hey, this is a lot of fun. Do you think we could do this? Yeah. Okay. Let's try. There was no plan. There's no oh, we're going to do all these things. It was just passion, pure passion.
Yeah. So it looks like once you think of something, you just go in and dive right in and make it work essentially.
Yep.
Perfect. And then sort of, how did you come up with your name, Freedom Rave Wear? I know a lot of entrepreneurs, we have a lot of new founders, they take a long time to think of a name. They want the perfect name. How did you know this was the right name for you guys?
Yeah. I don't know if it was, we didn't have a huge planning session that, we would do now is, if we're making other companies and starting up other business ideas, but we just sat down and said, I asked Alyssa, I was how does raving make you feel? And she said, free. And then it was all right, well, how are people going to find what we're looking for? So we did some Google Trends, and the most searched for item was rave wear, out of, I think, festival outfits. And at least it was specific to what we were trying to serve. So combined what we believed was a positive search term that we would organically show up for eventually, and paired it with a feeling. And that's how we got it. Probably not the best name in terms of being able to enunciate though. W's following R's are extremely difficult. We did not consider that when we first started. Rare.
Yeah, rave. Yeah, because it's the consonant following a vowel.
yeah, but you can do, a lot of people just say FRW. So
okay, yeah, FRW. Yep. Perfect. And then perfect. And then basically that process that you decided I want to make Freedom Rave Wear and then start your store. How did you know? Were you or Alyssa e-commerce savvy? How did you know how to price things? How did you know about shipping? How did that sort of all tie in together as a new founder? Were you overwhelmed by that?
I was never overwhelmed by it because I didn't really know where it was going on what it would entail. So we weren't really focused on big picture in the beginning. It was just okay, we want people to purchase these products. Well, what's our product? Alyssa can make anything that's like a custom outfit. So we'll just, have pretty open-ended like pitch. And what we would say is we'd go up to people and be like, hey, we'll make you an outfit. And if you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. Now people, it just removed risk and people were stoked and they gave us a try. And, if we were going to, we would ask them like, what's your budget? And they were like $150. Then we'd be like, all right, so in order for this to make sense for us, like, let's factor in, Alyssa, how much time is it going to take? We always calculated in at like a minimum wage rate for the beginning. I mean, we've been very like, even now, like very humble with the idea of not overpaying ourselves or getting, thinking that what we do is so special, like barely pay what we need to get moving and learn and get sales and have customers, and not trying to maximize profit at the beginning. Like it was just about, let's reach more people as fast as we can by giving like a competitive price, really cover our costs, but maybe only do a 2x, like, for a custom item, which is really, really crazy. So we were doing a lot of sweat equity stuff in the beginning too. And I don't know, I just don't think we would have been able to do it any other way. We didn't have any money back then.
How much money do you guys, that's a good question for our listeners and readers. How much money do you guys use to start this startup? I guess some people think that it requires thousands of dollars, but were you guys all bootstrapped? Were you family and friend funded? How did you guys sort of fund your business, your first, essentially order, your website, everything that's needed?
Yeah, I'd say for the first, when we started, we had maybe like $700. So we really didn't have enough to get like a Shopify subscription, and to enough to go to Michael's and buy some trim, some fabric, and hot glue and a glue gun. And it was like, all right, we need to make a sale before we can buy anything. So we collected the payments beforehand. We did like pre-sale type stuff. So that helped because then it gave us some money to work with. And we just did that like rinse and repeat. It wasn't some complicated story of like having to go out and try and secure funding. It was just, all right, we're going to sell like $100 item or a $200 item. Okay, let's go get some supplies and do what we can with it. And I wouldn't say, we've taken a couple small like friend loans, I guess is what it would be. Once we were at like the $500,000 mark in revenue, $15,000 loans here and there. And other than that, it's, funded by the sales of the products. And that's kept us in a really healthy place. And I don't really plan on changing that too much, aside from maybe occasionally trying to increase like marketing spend. We just like the freedom of not having other considerations that we have to think about. It's we like doing things ourselves. It's been like that.
Well, perfect. And that's another good question. How do you guys think about marketing and sort of getting your name out there? As new entrepreneurs, new founders, I guess sometimes people don't think that marketing is really important in order to get your brand out there, products out there. How have you guys done it? I think you kind of briefly talked about SEO. Do you guys get a lot of organic traffic? Do you guys use paid traffic? How do you guys think about that?
Alyssa and I are very good at prioritizing a fun lifestyle alongside and never at the expense of work. We will either make work with our lifestyle, or we won't do that work. That is something that takes a lot of focus, but I really think that like one of our defining characteristics is that we know how to make work fun. And that's what we did in the branding process. We were able to save up enough money from all those little custom orders to then, reach out to a music festival and say, hey, can we set up a booth? And, we shoved everything we could. Alyssa was, sewing everything back then, and put it into a little car and drove over to, to Arizona and did our first festival. We talked to everybody, man. As many people as we could, just to let them know. Cause it was like, hey, we're spending, maybe it was like $500 for the day or something. Like, we need to make the most of this. And, we covered our costs for that first one, and it was like, hey, like, I think we can, do this even better. So we ended up going to like over 50 festivals over the next 2 years. Gradually, our space went from a 10 by 10, to a 10 by 20, to like a 20 by 20, from small shows of 10,000 people to EDC Vegas of, 150,000 people. So along that journey, we just kept growing by being in the scene. We were at more festivals in those 2 years than most people go to in their lifetime by 5 times. You know what I mean? Most people don't do that. But it let us see a lot of trends. It let us speak to people. It let us understand the people that we're serving. And also for us, like, we had started out as people who had barely been to a festival when we started the company. So like, we have to walk the walk, and we've been to a lot of shows now and talked to a lot of people and have a really good, like, genuine, authentic roots. And I think that when it comes to branding, you have to have that, because if you don't, you run the risk of being exposed as, somebody who's just trying to take advantage of a marketplace. And for a lifestyle brand, that kind of reputation is going to really, really hurt you, and you can't escape it. Like, the truth always presents itself. And if you're someone out there buying your fake followers, or you're trying to make this illusion of being the lifestyle brand. Like, no. You have to live the lifestyle if you want to do that successfully and authentically. Yeah, you can still do it. Don't get me wrong. I could pretend like I'm, really into golfing, and I could spin up a sweet e-commerce store and make money off it. But the vibe's just not going to be right unless I'm spending time at the golf course, talking to the pros, knowing what they're doing. So it's just something like, I don't know, being authentic is huge for us.
Yeah, being authentic. I think that goes with most founders and most brands. You want to be living what the brand is, and sort of at least experiencing the things that your customers are. And also that would just make your branding better. You'll know what products to make. That'll make your product much easier. And, if customers have questions, you can sort of easily answer them versus, struggle to answer them as well.
Yeah. When you're going to 2 festivals every month, like, the product testing is live. Someone comes up, "Oh, I like this. Oh, I like that. Oh, why doesn't it do this?" It was just, for us, we were in, and I speak to it as past tense because we haven't been to a festival now for just over a year and a half. As a festival vendor, we still go to shows all the time, but we're not setting up our booths there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a type of replacement for an online survey. And I think that you really get to see, sometimes online surveys can mislead you. As an entrepreneur, you're trying to see, sample your audience and see what they really like. Nothing really replaces seeing their face, react to a product. I just think that's huge. So if you can do that, you're an entrepreneur and you know how to observe people in authentic moments, not just through a survey, I think that's also huge.
Yeah, surveys don't tell you much. It's when you can talk to customers directly, when they see your product, and also you as a founder, when you actually see their face is more important, because you can see if they're delighted by what you have or disappointed by what you have, and no survey can ever tell you that.
Exactly. And it just gets to the truth of it faster. And that's what you need. You need to get to the truth. You can't, it's just, what's the point of thinking that you understand something, but it's just a veneer? I don't know. These things really, they're at the core of why I love what we're doing, is because we're really trying to figure out genuine ways to understand people. That's cool stuff. It's exciting.
How much do what can you give some ranges on how much these booths at these events would cost? And would you see a direct ROI? Like, would you make your money back that same day, that week? Sort of, how did you guys as a company think about the budget for these booths or events that you attended? I guess maybe past the first few ones that you knew were maybe for research and.
Once we were moving and shaking at the big ones. So we always, I can think of two festivals actually, 2 festivals where we broke even. And so out of the 50 plus festivals, that's not a bad return. I think that on average we would get maybe 3 to 5x what the booth cost was. And if we could, once we had a pretty good idea of what we could sell, then we would know if that daily fee was something that we would entertain, trying to keep it within that 3 to 5x return. So if a booth cost $1,000 a day for a 10 by 10, all right, well, we need to make sure that we can sell $3,000 or $5,000 of product through that channel and capture as much data from, whether it's emails or they're following us on Instagram, or we're doing marketing sort of giveaways at the booth. We need to do something to make sure we can stay in touch with these people and make the most out of the money we're spending at the show, because the reality is a lot of the festivals do not care what vendor they work with. It's a sales channel to them, and they'll put you wherever they're going to put you. And it's really up to the vendor, to the entrepreneurs there to like make the most out of it and not rely on the venue to provide any of it, because it's your money, and at the end of the day, like, you need to watch out for what a good return is going to be. So I say that we saw, I don't know, maybe 50, 100, I don't know how many other vendors, we got relationships with through that time, like tons of other businesses. Most of them did not enjoy the same success that we did. I think the main reason right off the bat is the number of products, the number of SKUs they had didn't speak to enough people. A lot of them are sort of like one product or maybe 5 product type companies, and they show up and they've got those products, but all these people are walking by their booth and it's just too specific. We would show up and set up like a straight store, like a pop-up shop. I mean, we were coming in with like 100 variants of stuff. We brought in so much stuff that it made it easier for us to make the money back, because we weren't like hoping that people really like this one specific product.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Like, you can't go in with one product. I would advise so much against that.
And then sort of when you were at these pop-ups, would you have like them just buy online through your computer there? And as in like, okay, here's the items and we'll ship it to you, or were you actually selling the products there?
We were selling the products there. We eventually moved from that small little car to a Dodge Ram 2500 foot with a big travel trailer. So we were lugging stuff back and forth across the country. So
I know some people have pop-up stores. You've probably seen some like venture capital companies have a pop-up store, but you can't actually buy the good there. They'll be like, hey, this is just a demo item. Order it through the computer here or on your phone, and then we'll ship it to you.
Yeah, I think that process for our group is just because they want the instant gratification. Like, you can get some sales, but people want it right there. They want to take it and walk out with it and put it on. The products that you could wear right then and there, we always sold more of. Whereas, selling a bodysuit at a music festival, like, the person's already wearing clothes. They're not going to go change. So yeah, you should still sell the bodysuit. They're, some of them will put it in their backpack or like carry it around in a bag. But the ones, you're going to sell a bandana at a festival, you're going to do pretty well. If you're going to sell like things that you can just throw on or add to your outfit already, you're going to do really well. So I would make sure that we had the stuff in, the product on hand, and we used Shopify POS for the checkout process there.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think you also brought another good point that I just want to highlight again for our listeners is for something like this, especially with pop-ups or booths, you want to make sure you can still contact the users that come to you through email, through Instagram, through just liking your Facebook page, because you still want to be able to interact with them or at least offer them another product or item that you might have in your store later on. And that's so important with these type of channels. I want to talk to you guys about like, how do you guys think about, maybe digital marketing or online marketing? Is that something you guys focus on? Do you guys use ads or advertising for anything like that?
We've structured it to benefit our manufacturing and production schedule. So we didn't do that at first when we started the company. The production lived sort of separately from the digital marketing efforts and strategies, meaning they work together, but they weren't designed together. And I think that's super important when you're trying to find an efficiency that can scale. And so what we do now is we have products that we make once, and once they're sold out, they don't get made again. We have digital marketing efforts that take those products, those collections, those hero banner images or that product photography. We send that out to our influencers and brand ambassadors. We look at which of those pieces of content performed organically best, and then we choose those pieces of content to post through Facebook, maybe top of funnel or like cold traffic advertising campaigns. We then extract those insights from the web traffic that it does drive to use retargeting ads to start to then bring people back to the site based on the behavior that they exhibited while they were on the site. And as that cycle starts to like end, maybe someone's done seeing it, 14 days, 21 days later, whatever, they're there. not going to buy. We've already had 2 additional collections released. We're releasing things weekly now. So it's just constantly feeding itself. Like we're never missing or in need for content because we have new products made literally on like a weekly basis that we're releasing. And that synergy between the two has enabled us to really over time start to generate the consistency and engagement that the social media platforms seem to really favor. And I think that's why we have such a strong like social media community, is because we're consistently delivering that and they can expect it, and there's still exclusivity mixed within it. So it works really well. And that's how we think about it. We look at it from a holistic standpoint where we are e-commerce, retailers, but at our core, we're, apparel manufacturers, and figuring out how to bring that process into this, digital marketing renaissance that where there's tools everywhere, just merging them together in a productive and effective ways. Like that's what we do. That's what we love.
Going on this sort of thing with manufacturing, when did you guys switch to, manufacturing, and do you use a supply chain, and sort of, are they still made in California?
We moved into our first warehouse space 3 years after we founded the company. So we ran this company from our apartment for 3 years, building it organically, learning, figuring things out. And then over the last, year and a half, once we moved into the warehouse, really tooled it up and revamped all of our product offerings. So we went from making custom outfits and Alyssa making everything to, hiring seamstresses here. We make everything in San Diego. We have our seamstresses here at our warehouse. We buy our fabric mostly from the fashion district in LA, and have really just done everything we can to increase the time from our design concept to when it's available on the website, which is why we're releasing, we in the 3 months up to EDC, we will have released 16 collections. Yeah. Our nearest competitor might have released 2 or 3. So the reason we're able to do that is because, my seamstress can throw something at the designer. They're in the same building. And so we're building that side. Now we sell accessories and stuff that we buy from overseas or different vendors in LA and stuff like that. But for our apparel, we're very much focused on controlling that process, because then that's why our quality is top notch, because we really do check everything that comes out. We made it.
Yeah. And for something like this, if anybody goes to your website, freedomravewear.com, you see that a lot of your designs are custom, I've designs I've never seen before. Do you guys file patents or trademarks, or is that something that you can do for your type of business?
It's a great question. I think that it's something that a lot of designers struggle with. I say designers, I don't include myself in that. Alyssa is the designer, because there's that emotional connection to the piece that you've created, but it's just not worth it to us. We have this sort of shelf life. We want people to know us for having an excessive amount of new. And once it's created, good. I hope someone copies it. Fantastic, because we've already moved on. If you copied it within the same week as me, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, we need to do some stuff. But it's just not something that we really care about. If people want to copy, great, go for it. It's not what we're about. We care about so much different stuff. But I see designers get so upset with this concept of oh, you took this design from me. And yes, of course, there are people who do copy other people, and that is horrible. Do not do it. But the world just doesn't seem to favor protectionist mentality now. It's do something that you have no control over that. So what can you have control over? Well, for us, we can have control over just producing ridiculous amounts of stuff. So we'll just stick to that.
Yeah, exactly. Your uniqueness, your branding, your creativity, no one can copy that, because that's in your mind. But yeah, Amazon is a big betrayer of this. People will see anything on Amazon, and then 3 other companies overnight will pop up saying the same thing. And there's just no way to prevent copycats nowadays. But the ability to create and design something, that is what makes your brand unique. And kind of what you're saying before, your branding, your story, no one can replicate that, no matter how much they try.
Yeah, and that's the benefit, when we have a democratized access to, to selling, right? You have markets everywhere, you can sell so easy now. When you have all of those people, yeah, the real differentiator becomes your creativity, or at least creativity gets a lot more a weighted score. And I mean, shouldn't it be that way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in like a best world, like you would think that creativity would have some value. And I think it's so funny looking back I remember when people would be like, oh, an artist, like you're going to be a starving artist.
Yeah.
Like we are actively looking for talented graphic designers,
Yeah.
Artist is awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah, because especially right now, like you want to be more creative than anybody other besides you. Even copywriters, writers too, such big in demand right now when everything else is democratized. Because before it's something like Shopify, you would need 20 developers, but now you don't even need a Shopify. You don't even need an app developer or programmer to help you with your website because Shopify makes it so easy.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Blessed times, man. Blessed times for sure.
Okay, perfect. And just going on that sort of tangent about Shopify, what are the tools or platforms that you use to run your business?
Oh yeah, we got some good ones here. Let me just pull this up because this is great. The Shopify App Store is just a wealth of knowledge for entrepreneurs who are like just starting out. I really liked installing apps, trying them out, seeing what it's all about, reading the reviews, deleting it if you didn't like it. So I have tried a lot of apps, and that has helped me find the ones that really fit our specific needs. And I think that there are so many apps that do the job, but it's important that you find the one that does the best job for you. And you really can't know that unless you try, multiple return portal apps for your return process, because some of it make it a little easier for returns. Some of it make it a little easier to handle like an exchange. Anyway, I just think that whole process of finding the right tech stack is so much fun.
Yeah.
But some of the ones that we really like for our Facebook product feed, we use one that's called Awesome. I've had better results with that than the native Facebook and Instagram product feed. That's again just a personal thing. We really like Gorgeous for our customer service help desk. That definitely has been a real game changer from previously thinking about, well, is Zendesk or something,
Yeah.
is there something we can use that can help us? But in reality, like Gorgeous was built for Shopify stores and integrates easily with our like Smile Rewards program and, Klaviyo for email marketing. And so Gorgeous, if you've got, enough, I think it's like the $99 like a month price point.
Yeah.
If you've got more than 5-10 tickets a day, like you should definitely consider Gorgeous. It's awesome. Inventory Planner helps us with forecasting. It's been the best for this point. It's $99 Inventory Planner.
What is that called? Because that's funny because we do a lot of clients that they need help with inventory planning, and we were looking for a plugin this morning.
Yeah, Inventory Planner is hands down the best one for the price point. Now, you could look at some of the other ones like Stitch Labs or something that's going to be more robust in terms of its functionality, but it's also way more robust in its price. So I think that Inventory Planner, if you can justify the $99, that's huge, because you get to adjust sales forecasting. So it's looking at the traffic on the product page as well, and letting you know, all right, well, based on the amount of sales plus the traffic, this is what you can predict into the future. And it's been pretty good. But if you're seasonal or that your July is going to be really heavy, you can manually increase July's forecast like 30% or whatever, just so you can get those orders ahead of time. And you can create your purchase orders, your barcode labels, all that kind of stuff in there. So Klaviyo is great. We got Nosto for product recommendations. We got Recharge for our subscription box, and Route shipping insurance for our customers, so that they don't have to feel entirely disappointed when they don't get a package that USPS messed up. So like that's huge.
I think Shopify is probably one of the greatest platforms out there. Developers, the apps, they just make it so easy for e-commerce entrepreneurs to really, like you said before, test and see what works best for you, because there's so many of the same apps, but each app does something a little bit different. The UI is a little bit different, but that's what gives you as a founder the freedom to test and really just try them out without having to hire a huge developer to make something custom that is going to have its ongoing development headache.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I have people say like, how do you do all this stuff if you don't do code or develop? So I'm like, listen, I can copy paste and I can
Yeah.
like, that's pretty much, I feel like the qualifications to be able to integrate the 20 plus apps we have. There's support staff on each one of these. They're willing to help. There's a symbiotic need. They need you, you need them. So, hey, I'll give you a good review if you help me out with this. Is always a good way to start, because they want reviews so that their product can do well on the app store, and you want to have an app that works on your platform so that you can enhance the experience for your customers. So it's a win-win. It literally is people who want to work together trying to work together. So
yeah, perfect. Yeah, you help them out, they'll help you out for sure. Okay, Michael, and sort of the last question I have for you is, where can we go to learn more about you, your company, or your online story?
You can go to www.freedomravewear.com to shop the latest and greatest festival fashion that is made with love. You can find us on Instagram or any of our social media at Freedom Rave Wear. We are always active, always posting, slide into our DMs, we'll slide back. And as far as events, we have, if you're in the LA area, we have an event March 28th. It's a bass show. It's our first time throwing a music event. So hopefully more of that to come. And you can get more information on that under the community tab on our website. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on the contact side.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Michael, so much for your time. Everybody else, please go check out freedomravewear.com. A lot of new apparel, new stuff coming out every week. And you should also follow them on Instagram. They have a lot of good images, over 85,000 followers. And if you're in LA, they're hosting a party this month on the 28th. So thanks so much, Michael, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This week's episode of Digital Marketing Fastlane was brought to you by the performance marketing experts at Voy Media. Join us again next time, as we'll be bringing you more tips, techniques, and know-how to make your online business the very best that it can be. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, we'd love to hear them on Twitter